Hello and welcome to Tiny Table Talk for The Challenge Season 38, Episode 20, The Reunion Part 1, and this is a comment palooza. So I took a good amount of comments from my Thursday's review and recap of The Reunion Part 1, and without further ado, let's hear what you had to say about the reunion and things that were said and addressed in this past week's episode. And the first comment comes from Corey, who says, the intro/start of the show was not executed well. Those producer lines they were all saying sounded fake as hell. Now, I completely agree. What I was kind of confused about is that the initial reunion started going through the back scenes of the office where everybody was kind of in their pairs, saying those lines, just being like, hey, are you ready? Oh yeah. Hey, Fessel. Reunion time, let's go! All those lines, I mean, they had to do something to start off the show, but what was weird to me is that they started the show with that, then got into what to expect on the reunion, and then showed everybody kind of just walking up to the building and arriving at the... Why have it out of chronological order? Solo Prodigy coming in with an incredible comment saying everyone being giddy for Amber being pregnant after hating on her all season is top tier cringe. Now I expected nothing less from this cast as, like I mentioned, Amber put out her announcement, her pregnancy announcement on Instagram, and you know who was flooding the comments instantly after this news came out? All of the same castmates that we saw on stage. So I'm sure everybody on stage was happy for Amber, but also happy that Amber won't be on many seasons of the challenge coming up so that they don't have to worry about her being a threat much in the game. Now, a comment that I was not expecting to see but needed to highlight is from Cass, who says, no, I love the mullet, hashtag Jordan's mullet stan. I didn't expect Jordan's mullet to have a stan. I was just surprised that somebody was super upset that Jordan got a haircut and finally cut the mullet. Chelsea comes in with a comment saying, the close-up shots of the vets, Nani and Anissa, especially when Raven, Nerys, and Johnny were going at it, were so funny to me. They looked so over the drama and yelling at each other as if they were above this kind of thing when they used to be exactly like this on their earlier seasons. I always love to look at other people's reactions during certain segments, and they definitely stood out to me. There was some hookup drama back in the day, and they were always getting ready to yell about something. But now it's not on them, it's among the newer castmates. And because they are the veterans, because they hold themselves to a higher esteem now is all just above them. Which is interesting because a lot of the challenge audience wants to see drama. I mean, heck, that's why we have these reunions, to stir up some drama, stir up some storylines that maybe could be used for later seasons. Alas, we're probably not going to get them, or nothing is going to come from this reunion because everybody is just kind of keeping their cards close to the vest and don't want to answer any real questions to put them in any hot water for any future seasons to come. Now, I was very happy to see these two comments. One from Ginaj, sorry if I butchered her name, who said, the fashion commentary has me hollering. And also, Anja, again, sorry, I love the fashion police segment. It should be a regular thing. I don't know why I decided to put that in there. For some reason, I woke up on the petty side of the bed that morning and I just wanted to commentate on certain people's outfits. And I'm glad some people found it funny because I personally found it funny. I thought I was going to get more eye rolls for all the paint puns I did. But I'm glad at least somebody found it funny. At least two people found it funny. And maybe it'll be a regular thing coming into reunions for future seasons. D. Turner comes in with a comment saying, I usually like Nerys, but her comment to Raven saying she should have made friends instead of being sad about Johnny was kind of foul. Friends aren't going to get you the win, your partner is. Now, there is a friendship alliance that does help people get to the finals, but when you are a completely new person and don't know anybody and you come in with a so-called best friend, or at least a friend that you think will have your back, and then they don't at the end of the day in a very stressful environment like the challenge. I mean, honestly, everybody who brought somebody in, especially if they are a rookie team, that person is your safety blanket. You really can't trust anybody. And then if you can't trust your own partner to be there for you on top of that, you're not going to succeed. You're not going to have a fun time. Raven also hasn't been on reality TV. This is Johnny's like third show from All Star Shore and Love Island. So coming into this game, I'm sure he knows quite a bit of the cast. He's hung out with them, and now he's also getting close to Nerys, and then Raven's just kind of left on her own. SRD Jan Radovic, sorry if I butchered her name, comes in with a comment saying, I'm sorry, but Raven saying, well, mine is bronze after Nerys said hers is gold is the biggest self-burn I have ever witnessed. 10 out of 10. She tried to come back. I give her A for effort for trying to come back with a witty counter to what each other was dripping. But bronze is the first medal, I hope it's a medal that comes to your mind after somebody says gold. I mean, clearly that is going to be looked at as the inferior medal. Yeah, that was really bad. It's one of those moments where you're like staying up at night and you go, oh, why did I see it? Dang it. Oh, cringe a little bit because I shouldn't have said anything, or I should have said this, or it's kind of like that. Will Castle of Cards comes up with a comment saying, Jordan taking accountability for his actions and Tori not drove me nuts. I'm still with Jordan though. There was no reason to question his motives, and use their personal relationship was a bit over the line in my opinion. I still think that Jordan really didn't do too much wrong. I mean, I like that he can look back on his motives and his intentions and be like, I did this out of spite and I shouldn't have done it that way. But at the same time, Tori needs to say, I'm sorry, because she did try to justify her actions being like, it would have though. In a roundabout way, it would affect our... Come on now, we all know that's not really what you meant in that moment, to help her team out by keeping Fessel safe. And it also doesn't help that it's Fessel that they made the deal with. I mean, if it was anybody else, I think Jordan wouldn't have been as spiteful or it wouldn't have been as hurtful. But to hear that your friendship, this relationship outside of the game, is directly affected by you keeping somebody that you cared about, had relations with so quickly after your breakup, I mean, that's going to play a major factor as well. So I commend Jordan for taking accountability and apologizing to both people, because it would have been easy just to say like, I did what I did, I feel justified in what I did in that moment, and I'm going to stand by it. But he took the other way. Now Tori, on the other hand, doesn't see anything wrong with what she did. And that's something that Tori's going to have to deal with, you know? She's going to have to figure it out. And if she really doesn't think she did anything wrong, then that's on her. Lorena comes in with a comment saying, I knew Olivia's accent could have been so much worse, but actually listening to her saying that she could have makes me so angry. Production really needs to start providing safety equipment that actually works to the contestants. I mean, that's one of the most shocking revelations I've heard in any challenge reunions. Really on the challenge in general. I mean, I thought it could have been way worse, but hearing it from Olivia that she heard it from like a trained professional, a doctor, saying this is the possibility of what could have happened if that golf ball was slightly off the center. I mean, it hit right between her eyes. That is such a small window. And if it hit anywhere else, it could have been really, really bad. I mean, that just, oh man. Double Joe comes in with a comment saying, I'm not surprised Olivia's golf ball injury could have been way worse, but fatal? In the Double Agents finale, production has challengers wore goggles when they had to break blocks of ice to get a capsule. Understandable, but why weren't goggles used in this final with that slingshot? Yeah, you need that consistency. I'm sure that they tested out these slingshots and they had trained professionals. They had people that set the slingshots up. They had people that were around this equipment and used to this equipment so that every time that they were to use them, nothing bad would happen. But you have to think of every single possibility because honestly, this could have been looked at as negligence. I'm just happy that Olivia is alive, that Olivia is well, that what happened is horrific, but thankfully that everybody is okay in this situation and that all that was left was a scar and a very traumatic situation. And let's just leave the slingshots at home challenge. No more of it. As Simply Done comes in with a comment saying MTV owes her a check for life, hashtag Olivia. I think a lot of people, including myself, was a little shocked to hear that Olivia is so ready to come back for the next season of the challenge, prove herself, get back to another finals after what happened in these past finals. But I think it shows her resilience and she's ready to compete. Kendall Davis comes in with a comment saying, if Olivia would have died, I don't see how the challenge could continue. Hopefully this wakes production up. Yeah, I mean, there's no doubt about it. Well said. And hopefully this is the turning point that we will see better safety precautions taking place and safety equipment being readily available from here on out. Mickey comes in with a comment saying, Nani's segment was the highlight and should have been the closer. I also think that the playbacks hurt it because it's not needed. We have seen the show. I'd rather watch the conversations take place. I felt like the playbacks took so much away from this reunion because they just went on for so long. I thought they were going to show like a 30-second highlight, but some of these playback segments went on for so long to the point where I didn't even understand, like, what was the question? Could we just have gotten to the question and maybe had a flashback shown to us as the audience for a quick 20, 30 second clip? They went on for so long and I just felt like it took away because we have already seen that. We have talked about from weeks and weeks and weeks that this season has been super long and has been just dragging. But to show stuff that we have just seen and do it in a way that is just taking so much time to kind of fill the space of this reunion to even just claim an hour of TV time, that's also including commercials, just was head scratching. I just wanted to see the conversations. And even on Twitter and stuff, there were castmates like Mariah who was like, a lot of these conversations are being cut way short, just leaving out a lot on the editing room floor. Heck, Veronica said on Instagram, or it was Twitter, that they were filming this for like 2 days. 2 days of filming is cut down to 2 hours to 40 minutes to 45 minutes of content for 2 hours of television for a reunion. And Veronica said that they sat there for like 2 days. Asher says, I can't remember the last reunion show I've watched that didn't feel like a waste of time. I get why they once existed, but now that the contestants have weekly podcasts, social media, and YouTube after shows, I feel like they are archaic and only exist because of episode revenue. Yes, there was a point when I was watching the reunion or getting ready to watch the reunion going like, this seems all just unnecessary in my mind because this reunion was filmed months ago, like months prior. They're rehashing the same drama that we saw unfold in front of us, and it's exactly right. I mean, they have social media. How many times did Jay go live right after the episode premiered? The same thing with Amber and Chauncey, and a lot of these competitors have Instagram. So what are they going to do? They're going on Instagram Live right as the episode ends to talk about the episode, to give their piece, to tell everybody about what wasn't shown in the edit. And then there's multiple podcasts out there, from the Challenge Official podcast, the Bananas podcast, the Challenge Mania podcast, as well as the fan run podcast like the Challenge Fandom, the Redditors React, Challenge Fanatics. All those podcasts can get interviews with the players who have played on this season. They review and recap each episode after the episode had aired and get more information from the people that were involved and on the show. To where by the time we get to the reunion is actually airing, not even when it was filmed, but when it's actually airing, all the stuff that we are seeing and people are being asked questions to and answering questions and having fights about, either we've already heard those arguments and those points being brought up, and they have since been either squashed or completely moved on to other storylines or other drama points that won't be touched in this reunion because this was filmed months ago. I'd personally rather have 2 hours of stuff they didn't show where the contestants sit, do a confessional, and talk about moments that weren't shown on the actual season, because we know that they have a ton of backlog of fun moments and behind the scenes look that we will never get to see. It's just so many hours just left on the cutting room floor, hidden in a vault or deleted somewhere. And I think those moments would be much better suited shown to us than a reunion rehashing old drama points that will probably never boil into anything. Caramel Cookie comes in with a comment saying, what they should really ask is, was the 100-hour final necessary? Or also, if a mid-season switch team / partner format was necessary. I would like to hear what some of the people would say. I mean, I'm sure they would say like, no, 100 hours wasn't necessary. No, I wish they wouldn't have swapped up into two giant teams. I'm sure they all would have rather stayed paired up together, but it would be interesting commentary to get what the actual competitors who went through all of that would actually say. They probably would have been like, it probably wasn't necessary, but it was pretty cool. It kept me on my toes, you know? You know they're going to give that kind of answer because they want to get asked back to be on more seasons. And the final comment comes from the Sheppy77, who says, Part 1 felt more scripted than a sitcom and really didn't leave me wanting to see Part 2. I totally see where you're coming from, and I don't blame you for feeling that way. But I'll be here, because if you don't want to watch Part 2, I'll be here giving you the Cliff Notes version like I did this past week, and we can wrap up this season heading straight forward, barreling down to when the Global Championship starts up, which I'm very much looking forward to, and I can't believe that next week is the final week of the Challenge 38. It just never felt like it was going to end, and it's just less than a week away from finishing. I can't believe it. But that is it for this video. What'd you think about this episode? Let me know down in the comment section below. Let me know down in the comment section below what you would like to ask the challengers. That if you could get your question, or you would want one question answered by somebody that's on that stage, what question would you ask and who would it be directed to? And now I'd like to give a special shout out thank you to everyone who supports me over at patreon.com/angelcakevids. Thank you for your support. Thank you for your generosity. Thank you. And thank you to everyone who is watching this video up to this point. I'll be back really soon with more Challenge 38 content, more challenge content, more content in general. But until then, peace.